Most NBA legends are defined by their success. But Jerry West, he was defined by pain, and how he turned it into greatness. Born in 1938, in Cheyenne, West Virginia, Jerry was the fifth of 6 children in a poor and troubled household. His father, Howard West, was an alcoholic who ruled with fear and violence. A small mistake could trigger a beating. But Jerry had one protector, his older brother David. When David was deployed to fight in the Korean War, Jerry lost the person he loved most. David was killed in combat. That loss changed Jerry forever. He became quiet, withdrawn, and isolated from others. On top of the emotional scars, Jerry was extremely frail as a child. Doctors told him not to play contact sports. So while other kids played together, Jerry stood alone, shooting at an old hoop nailed to a neighbor's barn. He spent countless hours, rain or shine, practicing jump shots from every angle. Basketball became his escape, his therapy, his obsession. In his freshman year of high school, he barely made the team. But everything changed over the summer. Jerry grew to 6 feet 3 inches, and with his new height came new confidence. By senior year, he was averaging over 32 points per game and led East Bank High School to a state championship. He was named West Virginia's Player of the Year in 1956. But Jerry wasn't just a great basketball player. He was also the best sprinter and high jumper at his school. Offers from colleges poured in, but Jerry stayed close to home, choosing West Virginia University. There, he led the freshman team to a perfect 17-0 record and quickly developed a reputation as a tireless worker. He didn't drink. He didn't party. He didn't even socialize much. His teammates said he was always alone, thinking about basketball. During his junior year, Jerry averaged 27 points and 12 rebounds per game. He led West Virginia to the NCAA Finals, only to lose 71-70 despite scoring 28 points himself. It was a heartbreaking defeat, but for Jerry, that kind of pain only made him work harder. In 3 varsity seasons, he averaged 25 points and 13 rebounds. He was an All-American, Final Four MVP, and co-captain of the 1960 Olympic team alongside Oscar Robertson. They brought home the gold for Team USA. That same year, Jerry was drafted by the Minneapolis Lakers, just before they moved to Los Angeles. But even as he reached the NBA, Jerry West remained the same, quiet, obsessive, and relentlessly self-critical. And that would only grow stronger as he took on the challenge of saving a broken Lakers franchise. When Jerry West arrived in Los Angeles, he was quiet and reserved, so much so that his teammates jokingly nicknamed him Tweety Bird because of his high-pitched voice. But that didn't last long, because once he stepped on the court, everything changed. At 6 feet 3 inches and 175 pounds, West was smaller than most stars, but what he lacked in size, he made up for in sheer tenacity. He played defense with reckless abandon, dove after loose balls like his life depended on it, and broke his nose more than 10 times in his career. Thanks to his track and field background, he was incredibly athletic, able to soar 16 inches above the rim. But more than anything, Jerry earned respect for his work ethic. Teammates and opponents alike saw that he never took a play off. In his rookie season, Jerry averaged 17 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists, earning All-Star honors. His jump shot was deadly accurate, and with it, he quickly earned the nickname Mr. Outside. His teammate Elgin Baylor, a high-flying forward known for slashing to the rim, was dubbed Mr. Inside. Together, they formed one of the most dangerous scoring duos in the league. Before Jerry's arrival, the Lakers had 5 straight losing seasons. But in his first year, they improved by 11 wins and reached the Western Conference Finals. Though they lost in 7 games, West had already changed the team's trajectory. The next season, with Baylor serving in the Army and missing significant time, Jerry stepped up. He averaged 30 points per game and even dropped a career-high 63 points against the Knicks. That season, West and Baylor led the Lakers to the NBA Finals, where they faced their arch-nemesis, the Boston Celtics. It would be the beginning of a long and painful rivalry. The 1962 Finals went down to the wire. Game 7 was tied at 100 in the final seconds when Lakers guard Frank Selvey had a wide-open shot to win the championship. He missed. The game went into overtime, and Boston escaped with a 110-107 win. West averaged 31 points in the series. Baylor averaged 40. But it wasn't enough. That kind of heartbreak became a recurring nightmare. In 1963, the Lakers returned to the finals only to lose to Boston again. West, now known as Mr. Clutch for his late-game heroics, was becoming one of the league's most respected stars, but even he couldn't overcome the Celtics dynasty. Despite the losses, Jerry didn't stop working. In 1964, he averaged 28 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists, finishing top 5 in shooting efficiency. Remember, this was an era before the three-point line. West was doing damage from 20-plus feet without getting any bonus points for it. He was a perimeter shooter in a big man's game, and still one of the most efficient players in the league. By the 1965 playoffs, the Lakers were seen as title favorites once again. But early in the playoffs, disaster struck. Elgin Baylor suffered a serious knee injury. With his co-star out, Jerry carried the entire team. He scored over 40 points in every game of the series against the Baltimore Bullets, including a 52-point explosion in Game 2. He averaged 46.3 points per game across the series, still one of the greatest playoff performances ever. But in the finals, without Baylor, the Lakers fell to the Celtics once again. It was West's third finals loss. Still, he refused to quit. In 1966, Baylor returned, but he wasn't the same player. West took over the offensive load, averaging a career-high 31.2 points with elite efficiency. The Lakers battled all the way back to the finals, again against Boston. Down 3-1 in the series, they clawed their way back to force a Game 7. West poured in 36 points in the decider, but they lost by just 2 points, 95-93. Jerry was so devastated he didn't speak to his wife for weeks, often driving around aimlessly at night, unable to cope with the pain. Injuries caught up with the team in 1967, and they were swept in the first round. But in 1968, with a new coach and better team structure, West led the Lakers to yet another finals. And yes, you guessed it. They lost to Boston again. That made it 6 finals appearances for Jerry West, and 6 crushing defeats. By the late 1960s, Jerry West had already been to the NBA Finals 6 times, and lost all 6. The weight of failure was crushing him. He played with unmatched intensity, but with each loss, it seemed like destiny was mocking him. And in 1969, it all came to a boiling point. That summer, the Lakers made a franchise-altering move. They traded for Wilt Chamberlain, the most dominant big man in basketball history. With West, Baylor, and now Wilt, 3 future Hall of Famers, the Lakers finally looked unstoppable. But it wasn't that simple. Wilt and head coach Butch Van Breda Kolff clashed constantly. At one point, Wilt was so frustrated he nearly punched the coach during practice. Still, despite the internal drama, the team won a franchise record 55 games and coasted through the playoffs. In the finals, of course, it was Boston again. But this time, for once, the Celtics were underdogs. Bill Russell was aging. The Lakers had home court advantage. Thousands of balloons were hidden in the rafters of the Forum, ready to drop during the championship celebration. But the Celtics saw those balloons, and used them as fuel. Jerry West was furious about the arrogance, saying, "We haven't won anything yet." Game 1. Jerry exploded for 53 points. The Lakers battled hard, and by Game 5, they had a 3-2 series lead. One more win, and Jerry West would finally become a champion. But Boston didn't fold. They took Game 6 and forced another Game 7 in Los Angeles. It was the perfect setup for redemption. The balloons were ready. The city was ready. But fate had other plans. In Game 7, the Celtics jumped out to a big lead. Wilt went down with a knee injury, and the coach, still holding a grudge, refused to put him back in, even when he said he could play. Jerry West. He went ballistic. With a pulled hamstring, he dropped 42 points, 13 rebounds, and 12 assists, a triple-double in the biggest game of his life. He nearly dragged them back, bringing the game within a single point. But the Celtics held on, winning 108-106. The balloons stayed in the rafters. Jerry West had given everything. He averaged 38 points and 7.5 assists across the finals. And in one of the most bittersweet moments in NBA history, he was named the Finals MVP, the first year the award was ever given. To this day, he remains the only player to win Finals MVP from the losing team. Bill Russell, who won his 11th and final title that night, said, "The Lakers didn't win. But Jerry West is a champion." Coming from his greatest rival, that meant everything. After that series, Russell retired, ending the Celtics dynasty. But the damage was done. Jerry West had now lost 7 NBA Finals, including 4 in Game 7s. 3 of those losses came to the Celtics, by a combined total of just 7 points. And the mental toll? It was devastating. Jerry later admitted that he fell into deep depression after each Finals loss. He would isolate himself, stop talking to loved ones, and, at times, even considered taking his own life. The pain of perfectionism, combined with repeated failure, was more than most could bear. Then came 1970. With both Chamberlain and Baylor struggling with injuries, West had to carry the Lakers again. He led the league in scoring, made all-defense first team, and guided them to the finals, this time against the New York Knicks. The series was brutal. In Game 3, the Lakers were down 2 with only 3 seconds left. No timeouts. Just desperation. Jerry caught the inbounds, took 2 steps past half-court, and launched a 60-foot prayer. It went in. The Forum erupted. Teammates tackled him. But there was no three-point line yet, so the shot only tied the game. The Knicks won in overtime. By Game 7, Jerry had sprained both his hands, requiring injections just to grip the ball. The Knicks, inspired by Willis Reed's legendary return from injury, stunned the Lakers and won the championship. Another finals. Another heartbreak. That made it 8 finals losses for Jerry West. And no ring. For most players, that would have been the end. But Jerry West wasn't most players. He had one more chapter left, and this time, it would finally end in glory. By 1971, Jerry West had been to the finals 8 times. He had lost them all. His body was worn down. His mind even more so. He had given everything, blood, sweat, and soul, yet the championship ring he craved so deeply remained out of reach. At age 32, with teammates aging and his own health in decline, West considered walking away from the game altogether. But fate wasn't finished with him. Before the 1971-72 season, the Lakers brought in legendary coach Bill Sharman, a former Celtics player who knew firsthand how badly West had suffered at their hands. Sharman introduced discipline, structure, and a new philosophy to the team: morning shootarounds, mental conditioning, and ball movement. Something clicked. That season, the Lakers had one of the greatest years in NBA history. Despite Elgin Baylor retiring early in the season due to his Achilles injury, the Lakers didn't just stay afloat, they dominated. They won 33 straight games, a record that still stands to this day. They finished with 69 wins, the most in NBA history at that time. Jerry West was no longer just a scorer. He reinvented himself as a playmaker and floor general, leading the NBA with 9.7 assists per game, while still averaging 26 points. He became only the 5th player in history to lead the league in both scoring and assists across different seasons. And in the playoffs, Jerry was ready. The Lakers powered past the Chicago Bulls, took down the defending champion Milwaukee Bucks, led by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Oscar Robertson, and made it back to the finals once again. This time, they faced the New York Knicks. But unlike 1970, there was no miracle comeback for the Knicks. Despite West suffering a rare shooting slump during the series, his teammates stepped up. Wilt Chamberlain was dominant, Gail Goodrich was explosive, and the Lakers finally did it. Jerry West was an NBA champion. He should have been elated. But when the confetti fell and the final buzzer sounded, West stood quietly. He said later, "I played terrible basketball in the finals. I thought winning would feel different, but I just asked myself, is that really all there is to it?" Years of obsession, decades of chasing perfection, and when he finally reached the top, it didn't bring the peace he hoped for. Because for Jerry West, the drive to win was never about joy. It was about escaping the pain. And once he'd won, the pain didn't go away. In 1973, the Lakers made the finals again, but West, now 34, strained both hamstrings during the series. They lost in 5 games to the Knicks. A year later, at 36 years old, he was still producing 20 points, 4 rebounds, and 6.5 assists per game. But Chamberlain had retired. The Lakers were declining. And West, tired of contract disputes and refusing to wear another uniform, retired from basketball. He left the game as the NBA's 3rd all-time leading scorer. His career average of 27 points per game still ranks among the highest for any retired player, and remember, he did all this without the benefit of the three-point line. Experts believe if Jerry had played in the modern era, his averages would easily top 30 points per game, and he'd likely have multiple championships. But beyond the numbers, awards, and accolades, Jerry West's legacy is something else entirely. He went to the finals 9 times in 14 seasons. He lost 8 of them. 4 came down to Game 7. 3 were against the Celtics and decided by a combined 7 points. He was a symbol of pain, of perseverance, and of relentless pursuit. The NBA honored that struggle when they used his silhouette to create the league's logo, forever branding his form into the sport's identity. But even that felt hollow to West. He once said, "I'm the logo. But I didn't win enough. I never thought I was good enough." That's who Jerry West really was. A man driven not by ego, but by fear. A legend whose perfectionism bordered on self-destruction. Someone who was never satisfied, not with points, not with wins, not even with a championship. And yet, his pain, his obsession, and his refusal to give up are what made him unforgettable. Jerry West didn't just play basketball. He lived it. He bled for it. And in the end, he became its very identity.